Hello, I'm Craig, and welcome to another episode of Football Kit Memories, the football podcast that gets under the shirt. Today, I meet Scottish footballer come brand manager for sportswear manufacturer Joma, Andrew Barrowman. In our chat, we cover Andy's career from making his Premier League debut with Birmingham, his drive to get game time out on loan, as well as his appearance in the Scottish Cup final with Ross County. There's also plenty about Andy's second life as a senior brand manager for Joma in Scotland, where he talks to me about the strides the brand is making in the SPFL, as well as at the grassroots level. Later, I asked Andy to pick out 3 of his favourite football shirts and tell me a little bit about what they mean to him. We of course cover Birmingham City, that shirt for Ross County, and I find out just why Motherwell's 1991 Cup final was so special for him. Remember, you can listen to this and other episodes of Football Kit Memories on all major audio platforms including Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Please do like, follow, share, but above all, please do enjoy the podcast. Okay, so today on the podcast, I'm delighted to say I'm joined by ex-professional footballer come senior brand manager for Joma Sport. It's Andrew Barrowman. How you doing, Andy?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good. Delighted to be here. Always like to talk kit.
Yeah, I bet you do, mate. Well, I'm really excited to have you. I think we were talking over email before, just you kind of fit the brief for the absolute perfect guest for this podcast. So can't believe it's taken this long.
I hope I don't let you down. No pressure. That's what an opening line that is.
Well, that's what the edit's for, Andy. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, mate, we're going to cover your football career via your choices of football shirt a bit later on. But what I wanted to do is kind of start in the present and ask you what you do for Joma.
Yeah, so my title is senior brand manager. So I look after Scotland as my territory. So within that role, I manage professional teams, not just football, so other sports like Scottish athletics, basketball Scotland, other sort of national governing bodies that we work with, and I also manage our teamwear accounts, or key accounts in Scotland, or sort of larger accounts, teamwear retailers in Scotland. I also manage them. So yeah, it's very good for someone who's always been sort of involved in football predominantly, but involved in sport. It's great to, you spend most of your day just talking football or talking sport, and then you sort of catch yourself and go, oh, we actually better maybe talk about some business now, what we're actually here for. So it's good fun. It's every day is different and it moves at a very fast pace, but no, it's great fun.
Nice. So how do you move from being a professional footballer and retiring in that environment to becoming a brand manager at Joma?
It was a bit of luck, really. I started when I was still playing. I was at Dunfermline at the time, and I started a business management degree, just online through FIFPro Academy, the sort of governing body for footballers and the union, for footballers in Europe. So it was sort of fully funded. I was lucky, got on the course, met the criteria, got on that degree. It was 4.5 years, and basically just kind of last year, 6 months, I'd sort of made that transition from being a footballer. I'd went part-time for the first time in my career, and I'd sort of one eye on getting into the real world, so to speak. So it's just a bit of luck. I registered with a few recruitment companies, and I got a phone call one day from one of them to say, we've got a job they think you'd be quite well suited to. It's with a company called Joma. Have you heard of them? I said, yeah, I've heard of them. I've wore the kit. Yeah. I'd wore them at Dunfermline and a couple of other teams as well, so I was well aware of them. And yeah, just went from there really. And I think I fitted the bill in terms of what they look for. They kind of use that model, ex-professional sports people, in terms of there's lots of them dotted around the business in different countries, and I kind of fitted the bill for them, and it all moved very quickly. And yeah, here I am 4.5 years later.
Wow. So would there be kind of other ex-sportsmen in different territories, like you said then? Or any other ex-footballers like taking care of Spain or Germany, everywhere else? Yeah,
there is. Our head of sponsorship is an ex-handball player. Now, handball is really popular in Spain. He was a professional, he was a full-time professional, so that tells you how popular handball is over there. So yeah, he's our head of sponsorship. Alfonso Flores is his name, and yeah, they're all over, all different territories. I don't think anywhere else in the UK there is, but yeah, other territories, yeah, it's a model that the company look to use, yeah.
Right. So the brand's Spanish, right?
Yeah, based in Toledo, just outside Madrid, about 45 minutes from Madrid.
Right. So what is the brand all about? Like, what does it do that's different to other brands, and what is the strategy for kind of working with teams, etc., all over Europe?
Yeah, so we are teamwear. So we're obviously our competitors in the market, as everyone knows, Nike, Adidas, the sort of major powerhouses. They're more focused on sort of athletic leisure. So they want, my wife, who doesn't participate in any sport, to wear their clothes going to the supermarket or going, whatever it is they're doing. That's what they're more focused on. And yeah, they're still very prominent in the teamwear market. Where we differ is we are a teamwear brand. Pretty much in the UK especially, people will only wear our kit when they're going to represent their local club or whatever it may be, their team. It's their sort of uniform, and yeah, you'll have fans who'll wear it in replica, but it's very much connected to sports clubs.
Yep.
Elsewhere in Europe, actually, we've got retail shops on high streets and stuff in Spain, predominantly in the Mediterranean countries, and Italy, Portugal, places like that. And it is cool for a teenage kid to wear a Joma hoodie, to go to the cinema. Whereas in the UK, we just haven't. We've been here 14 years now, and we haven't ever captured that market. And it's something that we want to do. It's in the plan, but for some reason, it's just teamwear is just taking off. If you go down any of the local pitches, probably length and breadth of the UK, you'll see, it's Joma. As far as I can see, we've really done well in that market. And a few things, our stock level's very good.
Right.
Our range, our catalogue, I think it's something like 300 and odd pages. So it's a huge collection.
Yeah.
The price quality ratio. So we do the main things really, really well. We're not going to do the advertising campaigns like a Nike or Adidas or even like a New Balance, and people like that have come into the Castore, have come into the market. We're not going to spend the hundreds of millions on marketing, and we don't have that budget. So you kind of let the guys kind of go and get on with it, and we concentrate. We fight out for grassroots teamwear. Yeah, we've got our pro teams, and that's growing all the time. Yeah. But that for us, that's really, it's marketing. It comes from a marketing budget. So our main focus is grassroots teamwear, and we make no apology for that, because that's who we are and that's what we do best. So
yeah, that's really interesting. I can certainly attest to the quality. I've got a couple of Joma shirts, different teams and stuff, and it's really good quality gear. I wanted to ask a bit more about the professional teams. So, more and more of them are in Europe, right? So there's Anderlecht. I've got a little list here. Anderlecht, Atalanta, obviously in the Champions League, and Villarreal in the Europa League final this year. You had Swansea in the playoff final too. But you guys are taking strides in Scotland as well, right?
Yeah, we are. Last year, obviously, it's well documented what everyone was going through, but it was actually a really strong year for us last year, because you're always working a year in advance. So we are clinching deals for now, basically. So recently we've just announced Hibernian, which is huge for us. It's just a bit of context. They'll sell something like 15,000 replicas each year.
Right.
In Scotland, they're probably top 3, top 4 size clubs in Scotland. They finished third last year, going to play Europa League football this year. So it's huge for us within Scotland. It just sort of elevates the brand, and the perception of the brand just takes it up that next level. But in addition to that, we've also added Livingston Football Club and Ross County. So we've got the 3 new ones, and we already have St Mirren. So that's 4 in the Premiership. I think in total we've got 12 of the 42 professional clubs in Scotland, right, and four of them are in the Premiership. So it's really good. It's really strong, and I think that's sort of testament to what we do well. And football's a small world, and we all talk. And if you weren't doing things right, I think people would very quickly hear about it. So it's going well, and we just want to keep growing and strength to strength each year, and see where that takes us.
Fantastic. So when you sign a deal, so say Hibernian as an example, you sign a new deal, how involved with the club in terms of the design, the fans involved, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so every club's different, really. In terms of Hibernian, they've got a really great creative I don't even know what his title is, creative manager or something like that. His name's Peter Butt, and look him up. He's fantastic. Some of the stuff he does, I was aware of him before we ever became involved in Hibernian, and he's just really, some of his ideas. I mean, their kits will launch next Friday, the home kit, and it's I'm really excited. I always get a wee bit of excitement this time of year. It's a busy time of year. It's probably my least favourite in terms of the day-to-day job, because there's a lot of organising and trying to logistically behind the scenes. But it's actually it's exciting because the new kits I still get that. Although I've seen the kits, I've kind of been involved to a certain extent in designing them. I always get that little bit of nerves when you get the first package through and you open it, just the sample to see what it looks like, and you're never really sure. It's great seeing it on a screen, but until you actually open that package and see the samples, you're never really quite sure just how the real thing is going to look. So yeah, to answer your question, I mean, every club's different, and so Dunfermline did great work with Dunfermline in the Championship in Scotland. They did a great campaign this year with their fans, and they literally, sometimes you see clubs and they sort of pay lip service. Yeah, the fans picked it. Yeah, well, they maybe did, but you maybe narrowed it down to 3 choices or 4 choices, and then the fans picked their favourite from that. That's a kind of common theme. By the way, it's not always a good thing to let the fans get involved in it, because you'll never please anyone. You literally you could be there all day, you'll never ever please them, no matter how good a kit you turn out. But Dunfermline did it a different way. They actually selected different sort of genres, different age groups, and actually had them involved from the start, from literally the first meeting in terms of blank canvas.
Wow.
Where do we go from here? So that's the first time in my time anyway, and the clubs that I deal with that they've ever did that. And I think that the end result, I mean, the launch last week, the home particularly is just nailed it, because it's what the fans want. At the end of the day, the fans have designed it, so really everyone's saying how great, it's the best shirt we've did, and it's no coincidence, because they know what the fans, they're sitting in the stadium or they're drinking in the pub with their mates. They know what the fans are looking for. There's a bit of a nod to a pass-gone shirt in 1980s, I think. And yeah, it's brilliant. It's really good feedback from it. The away shirt was a bit different and a bit of Marmite. People love it or hate it, but I think it'll be a grower once people actually start to see it on the shelves and wear it and stuff. I think it'll be one of them that looks better when you actually see it in front of, rather than pictures on the website.
Very nice. So is there when you kind of sign a deal with a club, or when you start planning next season's shirts, is there a process that's always the same? Do you know that this process will take 6 months and we need to do these things, or is it very different for each club? Yeah,
no, we do. We look for sign off before the end of November for the next year's kit. Wow. So even like a Hibernian, when you're talking higher quantities, then it's even before that. We're probably signing it off probably September, definitely October latest.
Wow.
Because just volume, and we've got, it doesn't take that long to make a shirt, obviously, but you've got to schedule in production, you've got to do everything behind the scenes. People just think it's amazing. You get fans all around about this time of year on social media and stuff, and they'll kind of get in contact and they'll say, "Oh, can we do this shirt for next year?" And they're talking about now saying, "Can we do this shirt for next year?" And they don't know that the shirts were signed off, 8 months ago. And they're talking as if, yeah, okay, we're going to just blast these out and we'll put them on sale in 3 weeks' time. It's just crazy. People don't understand. I didn't understand as a footballer. I just turned up. Even like the training wear and things like that. Okay, it might not be bespoke. It's from a catalogue or a collection.
Yeah.
Even to get that there embellished and everything else that goes before it actually arrives for the fan or the player to wear. Then there's a lot of work involved, and I didn't even realise that before. I was a bit, as a footballer, you just turn up, the kit's there, and you wear it, and you throw it on the floor, and off you go, sort of thing. It's just it's really opened my eyes. I didn't realise just the work involved in getting a club supplied kit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a huge market as well, isn't it? I guess maybe that's why the cost is high as well, in order to kind of all that process is kind of accounted for as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously it's always a bugbear of fans, and anything involved football. It's shirts are just a part of that. The prices are going higher. The product is becoming more expensive. Whatever it is you're getting, it's more expensive for us to make.
Yeah,
it's more expensive to get it here, transport, especially after the turn of the year and things like that. So I suppose it's just a reflection of life, isn't it? It's not like we're suddenly just deciding to increase prices. And it's the same with the clubs. At the end of the day, the clubs dictate the price.
right.
No, they dictate the retail price. And, that we have a guideline and parameters where it must be within. But it's their choice, really. At the end of the day, they could cost it as little or as expensive as they want.
Right. Interesting. So, Andy, I've got one more question on Joma before we do start talking about your football shirt choices. I just wanted to know, like, where do you see the brand in 5 or 10 years? Where would you like it to go?
So I think predominantly, obviously, UK, we're predominantly known as a football brand. I think if you speak to anyone, Joma, they'll go, yeah, that's that football brand.
Yeah.
But I think for us, the plan is multi-sport. We want to become known, just as known in athletics or rugby. There's a big push this year on rugby. Lots of different sports. We're doing okay, and we've got Scottish athletics, we've got Welsh athletics, we've got Irish athletics. So that's just in the space of the last sort of 2-3 years. We've got them on board. So it's just about getting in front of more people. So if we can do that and we can become better known for multi-sport brand, then we can start looking at like retail shops. So as I touched on, we have retail shops in Mediterranean countries on every high street, like you would find, here.
Yeah.
But we don't have that here yet. So I think we can get to a stage where Joma is widely recognised across all sectors that people would like to walk in and buy a Joma hoodie to wear, as a teenager or whatever it may be.
Yeah,
I think we can get there, and that's the plan. But it's a lot of hard work and a lot of luck. But I think we can do it. We've done it in other countries, so why not?
Exactly, yeah. That and having every team in the SPFL as Joma, right?
Yeah, it's funny because you're getting these sort of comments and things, and listen, it goes. There's lifespans to every club that you're with. So yeah, okay, we might have 4, but in a year's time, we could have 2, or maybe not 2 because we've signed sort of 3 of them, but that could drop to 3. There's always a shelf life for the club in any brand. There comes a times when the fans just want something different, so they have to move on. It's a very fluid market. So yeah, we've doing okay at the moment, but it can change. It can change year on year, and there's always another club you pick up and move on, and
yeah.
Process just keeps going. We've actually clinched a English Premiership club, which has not been announced yet. So we've got another one for next year. So we're very exclusive. I can't obviously tell you who it is, but it'll be announced very soon. So it was a shame Swansea never made it through the playoffs, or we could have had 2.
Of course.
I'm not sure the money men would have wanted to in the Premiership anyway, just in terms of the cost that's involved and sponsorship rights and all that. So I'm not sure they would have maybe wanted that. But yeah, we will have representation in the English Premiership next year. So
fantastic, mate.
That's good all round. Yeah. It's huge. It's a good club, and yeah, we'll be interesting to see what comes off the back, because even if it's down south, we still get the spin off of that in Scotland. It's the same with Hibs. There'll be spin off of that. That sort of level club. There's people reference it, and it's good. And other brand managers will be able to reference Hibernian, and I'll be able to reference X when they come on board. And it's just good for everyone. It's a perception of the brand. So
nice.
It's fantastic.
I'm gonna have to sit and try and work out who that is after we finish. Okay, so listen, I ask everybody on the podcast this same question, and I'm interested in your take on it. What do football shirts mean to you?
Everything. Even in a previous life, if you like, I grew up as a kid, football shirts. I was never out of football shirt.
Yeah.
I literally, my mum and dad couldn't get me in anything else. I just all I wore was football shirts, and that's just how I was, and I've continued that obviously my whole career. It's funny because I actually don't have any of the shirts that I wore as a player. My dad has them all. My dad keeps them all. I literally don't have any. Now I've got a son myself. Now he's 4 and he's just starting to get into football and likes. He's a Chelsea fan. I don't know why. I've never really liked Chelsea myself, but you seen it on TV one time. He likes blue, so he's a Chelsea fan. Yeah. So he's actually on his second Chelsea kit and he's age 4. So
wow.
So I don't know when that will stop or whether it will continue, but who knows? That's his team at the moment, so I'll go with that. But yeah, I don't have any of my kits. It's something that I'll probably obviously pass down to my son and we can sit down and talk about them one day. I've got some great shots in my collection and people I played against and things like that as well. So, but my dad keeps all of that. And yeah, all for another day.
Nice. So look, let's kick off with your first shirt choice. So this is the Motherwell 1990-91 Cup Final kit by Admiral.
Yeah. Obviously, it's a very famous final. It was 4-3, I think it was. Just everything happened. The goalkeeper breaking his ribs and playing on for 60 minutes or whatever it was. It was just a crazy final. It was one of them, if you speak to... It's always the one that gets shown when they're showing archives of great Scottish Cup finals. It's always right up there. It was just a tremendous game. I was probably too young. I don't really remember anything about the game. I remember being in the stand. It was terrace and it wasn't seating, and with my dad and my uncle and stuff, and remember walking to the game, but I don't actually remember the game. But what I do remember is the strip launched on the morning of the game, so it became available to buy on the morning of the cup final. So I remember going down with my dad. It was a little independent sports shop in my local town, which sadly these sort of guys don't. There's not very many of them going about now. It's all been taken over by the big hitters, but there's a little local independent sports retailer called Premier Sports in Wishaw, a little town I grew up in, and I went there with my dad, and there was a little queue outside because it was sort of a Motherwell stronghold area, and I queued up and got my full kit, and I tried it on in the shop and I wouldn't take it off. That was me. I wouldn't take it off and put probably another football strip that I had on to go there. I just wanted to keep it on, and that was me ready for the cup final. And I just remember in the car and parking up and walking to the ground and all that. It's probably my earliest memory of football, to be honest. So yeah, it was fantastic.
Nice. So I take it you're a Motherwell fan growing up then?
Yeah, I mean, I actually played for Rangers from the age of 8 all the way till I left school at 16. So kind of naturally just started to sort of follow them. But yeah, me and my friends would go down to the Motherwell game. We could walk or jump on the bus, and we'd go and at that point I think it was like kids for a quid, and we'd go down there, and that was our wee sort of, that's what, as far as we could go away from the sort of house and back on a Saturday. So no, I went to a lot. I still do. I'm actually going to buy, for the first time ever, I'm going to buy, me and my son, again, he's just starting football, we're going to buy a season ticket. What most clubs do, they'll do a great campaign in terms of kids go free and all that. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to invest in a season ticket for the first time this year, and I'll go along to as many games as I can. But
very nice. Well, they've just updated the stadium, haven't they? They've done a load of upgrades over the summer, I was seeing on Twitter.
They have, yes. I mean, they've been doing it over the last few years. They're really good. Again, I'd sort of, the reason I'm buying a season ticket, like I kind of said that on social media, and it got quite a good response just from Motherwell fans and other football fans. It made me buy the season ticket. See, because of content that they put out on social and just what they do round about the ground and how they've updated it, and even simple things like signage round about the ground. And they've just been really making a conscious effort to make it a better experience for fans to go. And it's a place now that I would take my 4-year-old son, whereas maybe a few years ago I maybe wouldn't have taken him because the seats weren't great. It was kind of run down, and they've done a lot of work, and I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm of that mind, so I'm pretty sure there'll be other fans and maybe neutrals in the local area that maybe would normally get on a train and go and watch Rangers and Celtic. I'm pretty sure they've converted quite a lot of the fans just because of they're appealing to the local community, and that's something that's really sort of hit with me. But there's some good people there, and they do some great stuff and social media and stuff. They're not in Joma yet, but we'll work on that.
You'll get there.
Hopefully one day.
So you mentioned you're at Rangers for a long time as a youth, and then, if I'm right, when you were 16, you moved to Birmingham City, right?
That's right. Yeah, I just sort of got to the age of leaving school and going to make a career as a footballer, and had a few options. I played for Scotland schoolboys at the time, so sort of English clubs were seeing you and the games, and had a few options. I was at Newcastle and Leeds as well were options. Just kind of spent time down there, and I went to Birmingham. They were Championship at the time, and just got a really good feel for the club. I thought a big club, but not that big that I could, maybe make it to the first team. I was at Leeds, and they've just got to the semi-final of the Champions League, and I'm going, how am I ever going to get into that team? It's like they're signing guys for, I don't know what it was, but mega money, and I thought Birmingham just felt right. I just got a good feel for it, liked the people there, and I ended up going down there. It was brilliant for me. I mean, I was there for 6 years. Just changed me as a person out with football, and learned a lot. Be in that academy environment and playing against your Man Uniteds and Liverpools, and made me a better player as well. So
yeah,
it's harder for my mum and dad, I think, especially my mum, for 16-year-old moving to second biggest city in the UK. I think it was harder for her to accept than probably me. It was just an adventure for me.
Really? That's how you treated it? That's good.
I was fulfilling a dream. I grew up and watching Match of the Day with my dad, and I just wanted to be a footballer and to get paid. I mean, it was academy, so you're starting off in the kind of scholarship scheme, and it's you're getting paid, but you're not really getting paid. But it's one of them. To get paid to play football, it was brilliant for me. I was just loving it.
Amazing. So the shirt you've chosen then is a Birmingham shirt. It's the 0304 shirt by Lecoq Sportif. That's the one you made your Premiership debut in.
It was, at home to Leicester City. I think I played 8 minutes, something like that.
Did you win?
No, we got beat. We got beat. Did we get beat, or was it a draw? I think it was a draw, actually. So I get sent on, obviously, striker. We went about 3 up front at that point and just trying to nick the winner. And the manager sort of threw me on. I'd been on the fringes. I'd been on the bench a few times the week, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks before Stamford Bridge against Chelsea. That was the first time I was ever actually on the bench as a substitute. I travelled with the squad most weeks for that season and just been sort of the odd man out in the stand. But I got on the bench for a few games leading up to that Leicester game, and then I'm warming up at the side of the pitch, and the manager's doing that, and it must be him, can't be me. And then he's like, I was like, right, okay. So I was on. It just happened so quickly, and still got the footage. It's a VHS. It's not even a DVD. It's a VHS. My dad's got it. Remember Match of the Day moved to ITV for a few. I think it was like 2 years. Or Des Lyman. It's then. It wasn't even on BBC Match of the Day.
Wow.
It was when it moved to ITV for that. I think it was like 1 year, wasn't it? It moved there. No, it wasn't a long time anyway. So it's that. So no, it's a great memory. As I said, I grew up every Saturday night lying on the couch with my dad and watching Match of the Day, and to be on it, to see myself on Match of the Day, is not as blink and you miss it type thing, but just to see myself on there, it was a dream come true for me and my dad and my family. So.
Were you a confident young lad? So were you kind of coming on the pitch thinking, I'm going to do something here, or were you nervous? Was it the other way around?
I probably was confident by the time I got to that stage. I think when I moved down from Scotland, I wasn't confident. I was quite shy and growing up and stuff. But I think I had to be confident. I was 16-year-old and I was living with a sort of host family like in digs and stuff. But I was literally there myself. I had to grow up. I had to learn, and so I became more confident. So at that point, I was probably 18,
right,
19, probably 18. So I'd come out my shell a wee bit, and you're playing and you're on the fridges and you're training with the first team every day. So naturally you just get a bit of a hit for yourself, don't you? And you get your confidence that way. But no, I was fine. I did that. I thought I could go on here and score. I was scoring regularly in the reserves and in the academy and all that previous to that. So yeah, every time I went on the pitch, I'm still the same. Playing over 35s now, and I still think I'm disappointed. Yeah, it's still on a Friday night. The league's not started yet. It's a few weeks away, but yeah, I still play. And if we win and I don't score, I'm raging like and it's over 35. I can't run, but if I don't score, I'm not happy.
So you did a lot of like kind of time on loan whilst you're at Birmingham, and what I wanted to ask was the club doing that, or were you kind of asking the club, look, I want to go out and play? If it's hard to break in the first team, do you get out there and get that experience? Yeah,
it was me asking. In hindsight, some of them probably weren't right. I shouldn't have went, but I didn't want to sit in reserves. I was fortunate. I got in the reserve team quite early, probably in my tail end of my first year down there. I was doing well in the academy, and I kind of got in the reserve. So I'd maybe been playing reserve football for 2.5 years before when I started sort of getting on the fringes of the first team. And I was like, I've done it. I'd done it there. And reserve football is great up to a point, but there gets a point in it. Any first team players that are coming down to play in reserves, they don't want to be there. The just the atmosphere about the tempo, and it just run its course for me. And I just wanted to keep getting out every time I would go. And I made some shocking decisions really in hindsight, but I was just eager to play. I just wanted to get out there and show the manager, show Steve Bruce that I could do it at first team level and try and force my way into his plans. But yeah, as I say, it's on the CV. Everybody always goes, you've got so many teams, but it's one of them. You're going out for a month or 3 months here, and that's just the way it is. A Premiership club, most of, if you're not a world beater and you're not going to get in the first team at 18, then you've got to go out there and get experience. I say I did make some bad choices, but hey, hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Exactly. I was going to ask you that. Obviously, you're described on Wikipedia as a journeyman, and I wondered how you feel about that. But also, is that because you had that desire to always keep playing? Is that why you moved on to different clubs to always make sure you had game time?
Yeah, I mean, probably, obviously the loan spell, as I've touched on, I just wanted to play. I didn't want to play reserve football, so that accounts for these sort of moves. But once I moved back up to Scotland, aside for Kilmarnock, which didn't really get a sniff there, and I ended up moving pretty quickly. And every move I made, I always felt as if I bettered myself. Like I moved up. I could have stayed at the club. Most of the clubs I moved, I could have stayed there and maybe signed another contract. But every move I moved, I would go up a division or 2 divisions, and I was always trying to push on. And again, maybe made some decisions in hindsight weren't the right thing. I should have maybe stayed put. Like for Ross County, for example, when we just won my first season there, I'd scored 29 goals, and I had a few teams, and I ended up signing for Inverness. So I went from second division, although we'd won the league, jumped up to the Premier League, and yeah, I didn't have a great time at Inverness. It didn't go well for me, but I did it. I could have stayed at Ross County and been comfortable there, but I wanted to test myself and see if I was good enough for the Premier League. And ultimately, people say I wasn't good at that stage in my career, but I wanted to try. I wanted to do it. I thought it was a great contract, and it set me up for later in life as well in terms of a monetary thing. But it wasn't really about it. I just wanted to prove and show that I could score goals in the Premier League, and I did that throughout my career. Again, with Ross County later on, when I signed for Dunfermline, Ross County were in the Championship and Dunfermline in the Premiership. So I wanted to play in the Premiership again, and it was just all my moves kind of like that until you get to the end of the career and you're just kind of hanging on a wee bit. The moves in the sort of peak of my career were just all about kind of bettering myself.
Yeah. One thing I did want to ask you about your time at Birmingham. I'm hoping I've kind of got the dates right here, but you've got kind of Scotland under 19 caps, right? So you were playing. You mentioned Scotland schoolboys. I wondered when, at that time, it was Bertie Vogts as the manager, right? And Bertie Vogts was handing out caps like no one's business. If you're a Scot in the Premier League, he was seeming to cap these guys. Were you ever anywhere close to that, do you think, at that time?
No, probably not. Even in my under 19s team, there was guys there like Darren Fletcher was in that team. Right. Craig Beattie, who was playing for Celtic at the time, ended up coming down to West Brom and Swansea and stuff. I'm trying to think who else was in that team. There was probably more. There was probably people, especially in forward areas, that were probably ahead of me in terms of being on that pecking order to get pushed up, and they did. They guys went on to play under 21 football and things. So no, I don't think I probably ever was. I don't know if I'd got in the Birmingham first team and started sort of playing more regularly and there, then you never know. I probably would have forced myself into thinking, but it was never to be. I wasn't good enough for the Birmingham first team, and then obviously ultimately wasn't good for the international setup either. So
right. But you still got those under 19 caps, mate. So that's amazing. Did you keep those shirts? That was it.
Yeah, again, my dad will have them. I've not seen them since probably the day of the game, but my dad will have them. He keeps everything.
Nice. Well, look, let's move on to your final shirt. So this is a Ross County shirt from your second period at the club, if I'm right. It's a Scottish Cup final shirt from 2010.
Yeah. So obviously for a championship at the time to go, we beat Celtic in the semi-final. which is unheard of up here. For people still talk about it now. Beat them 2-0. Obviously get to the final against Dundee United, who were a good side at the time. Had loads of players that actually went on to get moved to down south to the English Premiership and for big money, and they beat us 3-0 in the final. But it was tighter than that. It was like 0-0 up to the 60th minute or something. Something like that, and ended up going out and running away deserved winners. They were too good for us on the day. But yeah, it's just a pinnacle in my career again. You're playing football with your mates down the park, and somebody crosses it in, you're kidding on, it's the last minute, the Scottish Cup final. As a Scot, you'll do it, FA Cup final and stuff. That's just what we do, isn't it? We played that loads of times over my head, to walk out there in front of 55,000 at Hampden National Stadium, and it was just such a proud day, and my family's in the stand, and ultimately the match itself was a bit of a letdown, but just the whole experience, and before the game, after the game, everybody was down, but we had a great party that night as well. And just, the achievement that we did to beat Celtic in the semi-final, that was probably our final. That was us. We kind of peaked at the semi-final stage. And it was just great memories. People still talk about it. It kind of launched Ross County as a club as well. They were always sort of bottom half championship team, and since that day they kind of put them on the map, and they've kicked on, and they won the cup not so long ago, and they've been sort of steady in the Premiership for a number of years, and it really helped everyone, players individually in that team, and obviously the club as a whole.
Yeah, mate, it's a fantastic achievement, like you say. Did you keep your medal? Yeah,
I've got it, and that's probably one that I will plan to get framed. Right. So I've got like the shirt, the programme, the medal. Nice. You kind of see these things. That's probably one I will do that with, because if there's any that I do, it'll probably will be. Actually, in the semi-final, I got Robbie Keane's shirt. He was up at Celtic at the time.
Wow. Okay.
He'd come up on loan to Celtic, and I knew friend of a friend, sort of Celtic kitman, and I kind of arranged before the game that I was going to get it.
Yeah.
To get the shirt, so I've got a picture actually. It's a picture of me after the game, with my arm around Robbie Keane, like pleading with him to give him the shirt. and he's saying to me, no, it's somebody's getting it. I've already arranged, and I'm going, yeah, it's me, and I'm going. You can see me like doing that. And then he was having none of it. He's like, no, well, you'll get it inside, and so I got it. So he wasn't at Celtic for very long. So I actually got offered a lot of money for that, just not too long after. But serious amounts of money, like thousands of pounds for it. But I kept it, and that's just because of the day and the occasion. If we got beat, maybe I'd have sold it, but because we won, and it's just part of the occasion for me that I've got Robbie Keane's shirt, an absolute superstar, and
incredible,
and we beat them on the day.
Of course, yeah, wow. I wanted to ask you about the final itself. Did you personally have a good game? I know you lost 3-0, but how did you get on?
Hardly touched the ball, to be honest. I always say this to people. I think I touched the ball about 20 times in the whole game. It's like we were just camped in. We didn't have a shot on goal. That's how bad. And for a team that were really free scoring, and our strength was our attacking. Yeah. We had some great wingers and really skillful players round about me, and we never even had a shot on goal. It was just so disappointing. Yeah, we never had a shot on goal. It's like it's just something that kind of eats away at you, and on the day. But yeah, listen, we could reflect on it, and it's still an unbelievable achievement. And as I said, maybe dampened the celebrations for a couple of hours, but afterwards, I think we all realised what we'd achieved, and we enjoyed it.
Fantastic, mate. Well, listen, that's 3 amazing shirt choices, some amazing stories as well. Just thank you so much for your time, mate. It's been absolutely amazing to speak to you.
No worries. Pleasure. As I say, always happy to talk kit and talk football. So thanks for having me on. Thanks for inviting me on. It's been a pleasure.
So there you have it. Massive thanks to Andy for sharing his football kit memories with me. You can follow me and my own collection on Instagram, or get in touch via Twitter or email. Make sure you follow Andy and Joma too on the socials. The music you heard was produced by Eva Led. Check that out on his Bandcamp. There's links to absolutely everything I've mentioned in the notes section of the podcast. And finally, thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed it, please do spread the word, give me a follow on social, and subscribe to Football Kit Memories on your podcast player of choice. And other than that, I'll catch you next time.